I'm giving your daughter's birthday money to my son. He actually earned good grades, Dad said, pocketing the $1 200 cash Grandma had mailed for her sweet 16. Sister nodded, fair is fair. My daughter cried all night. I didn't fight. I texted Grandma one screenshot when she changed her entire will the next morning, and they found out at the lawyer's office. My daughter's sweet 16 banner was still crooked when my dad said it. We were in his dining room in Reynoldsburg, Ohio. 6:41 p.m. The cheap, happy 16. Chloe let her sagging because the tape kept giving up. Chloe was standing by the table with her hands tucked into the sleeves of her hoodie, like she didn't trust her own fingers. My sister Megan was already filming on her phone because she films everything like evidence. Dad slid the envelope out of the stack of mail like he was dealing cards. From Grandma Evelyn, he said, reading it out loud like it was for him. Chloe's face did that cautious lift kids do when they're trying to be excited without getting punished for it. Can I open it? She asked. Dad didn't answer her. He just tore it open. I said, Dad, that's for Chloe. He pulled out the card first, then the cash. It wasn't a little wad. It was thick and crisp and counted in hundreds. Megan made a low whistle. Okay, Grandma. Chloe swallowed hard. Is that for me? Dad's thumb flicked through the bills like he was checking if they were real. My brain counted without asking me to. 1, 2, 3. I saw enough blue strips to know it was serious money. Dad said, it's 1-200. Chloe whispered, my God. Dad didn't smile at her. He smiled at himself. Then he said it casual, like he was announcing a seating chart. I'm giving your daughter's birthday money to my son. He actually earned good grades. My mouth went dry. Chloe blinked like she didn't understand English for a second. Megan nodded immediately like she'd been waiting for the line. Fair is fair. My nephew, Aiden, 14, stood behind her and didn't say anything. He just stared at the floor like he'd already been coached. Chloe's voice came out thin. Grandma sent that to me. Dad folded the bills in half and slid them into his front pocket like he was putting away a receipt. I said very evenly, give it back. Dad didn't even look at me. Don't make a scene. Megan added, it's not like Chloe did anything to deserve $1 200. Chloe's eyes jumped to mine. She wasn't crying yet. She was waiting to see what kind of mother I was going to be. My hands got cold. My heart did that heavy, slow thud like it was preparing for impact. Chloe whispered, Mom. Dad finally looked at me. His face had that reasonable expression he uses right before he does something cruel and calls it discipline. We all decided, he said. Aiden needs it more. I heard myself ask for what Megan answered like it was obvious. Tutoring his laptop and his AP test fees. He's trying. Chloe said I'm trying too. Dad shrugged. Your grades aren't like his. That's when Chloe's mouth twisted and her eyes filled fast and hot. She turned her face away like she didn't want them to see, which somehow made it worse. My body wanted to explode. My throat wanted to scream. But Chloe was watching me the way kids watch adults after a car almost hits them. So I did the opposite of what they expected. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't argue. I pulled my phone out, held it low, and took one clean photo. Dad's hand was still half in his pocket. The cash corner was still visible. Megan was still nodding. My lock screen showed the time. 6:43 p.m. Chloe let out this small sound like her chest forgot how to work. I slid my phone back into my pocket. Dad said, put that away. I looked at Chloe and said, get your coat. Megan laughed once sharp. Oh my God, dramatic. I didn't look at her. Chloe went to the hallway like a robot. Dad called after me. If you walk out over money, you're proving my point. I didn't scream. I didn't fight. I took my daughter home, tucked her into bed, fully dressed, because she wouldn't change, and listened to her cry into her pillow until 2:10 a.m. Then, in the dark, while my daughter slept in that exhausted, post-cry way, I opened my photo. I hit send. One screenshot, one picture to Grandma Evelyn, and I wrote 6 words. He took your gift from her. If this had been the first time I would have fought. If my dad had ever once been the kind of man who made mistakes and apologized, I might have believed him when he said he was helping. But this wasn't a mistake. This was a pattern with a clean haircut. I'm Theodora. I'm 38, and I work as a medical billing supervisor at a clinic in Columbus. My life is spreadsheets, denials, and phone calls that start with, unfortunately. Chloe is my only kid. I had her at 22, with a man who disappeared by the time she was 3. No drama story, just a slow fade and one final text that said, I'm not built for this. I moved back into my dad's house when Chloe was 13. Not because I wanted to, because rent went up. My hours got cut and my car needed a transmission. At the same time, my kid needed braces. My dad calls it family helps. What he means is family controls. His house, his rules, his mood. My sister Megan never moved back. Megan married a guy with a steady paycheck and a mother-in-law who babysits. Megan still shows up at my dad's house like she owns stock in it. Aiden is her oldest. He's smart. I'll give him that. He also knows how to be my dad's favorite. Chloe knows it too. The first incident was when Chloe was 12 and Grandma Evelyn mailed her a $200 check for back to school. Chloe was excited because she wanted Converse, not designer, just shoes that didn't look like hand-me-downs. Dad took the envelope, opened it, and said, "I'll deposit it for you." I said, "No, you won't." He stared at me until my spine gave out. He deposited it into his account temporarily because minors can't manage money. A week later, Chloe asked about it. Dad said I used it for groceries. You eat groceries. Chloe nodded like that was logical. That night, she folded her socks so tight I could hear the fabric snap. The second incident was when Chloe was 14 and I got a small bonus at work, $480. I told Chloe we could finally replace her cracked phone screen. Megan showed up the next day talking about Aiden's baseball travel team. Dad looked at my envelope on the counter and said, "That's perfect timing." I said no. He said, "Don't be selfish." Megan said he's talented. And somehow, my kid's phone screen became less important than my nephew's tournament in Cincinnati. Chloe started saying, "It's fine" a lot after that. Not in a normal teen way, in a way that sounded like she was trying to shrink herself so the room wouldn't notice she existed. The third incident was the one that should have ended it, but I was still in the phase where I swallowed everything and called it survival. Chloe was 15. She got into a summer art program at CC-Ad. It wasn't cheap. The deposit was $300. I was scraping it together in cash, literal cash, because I didn't trust my dad to hold it again. Dad found it in my purse when he was looking for the car insurance card. He held the bills up and said, "What's this?" I said, "Put it back." He said, "You're hiding money now." Megan happened to be there. Of course she was. She said, "If you have extra, Dad's electric bill is behind." Dad sighed like a martyr. I don't ask for much. I handed over $200 because I was terrified of losing the roof over my kid's head. Chloe didn't say a word. She just stared at her sketchbook like it had betrayed her. Later in our room, she said quietly, "I shouldn't have asked to go." That line hit me harder than any of my dad's yelling ever did because that's what the pattern did. It trained my daughter to think she was the problem for wanting normal things. My dad has a vocabulary he uses to make theft sound like virtue. Keep it smooth. Don't make it awkward. Family comes first. And the best one, the one he uses when he knows he's wrong and doesn't care. Be flexible. I kept telling myself it was temporary. Just until Chloe graduated, just until I got my promotion, just until we could leave. I thought enduring it was protecting her. It wasn't. It was teaching her that other people get to vote on her worth. So when Dad pocketed $1,200 meant for her sweet 16 and called it fair, something in me finally went clear. Not angry, clear. And when Chloe cried all night, I realized my job wasn't to win an argument. My job was to stop letting them touch my kid's life like it was a communal resource. Grandma Evelyn replied at 7:02 a.m. the next morning. Chloe was asleep on the couch with her hoodie pulled over her face like she was trying to hide from the world. My phone buzzed once. "Evelyn Hart, call me now." I stepped onto the back porch because I didn't want Chloe to hear my voice crack. The February air burned my throat. I hit call. Grandma didn't say hello. She said, "Did he take it from her hands?" I swallowed. He opened the envelope, counted it, pocketed it. A pause, then very controlled. Did Chloe see? Yes. Another pause, sharper. Did she cry? Yes. Grandma exhaled once and it sounded like a door locking. I mailed that to Chloe, she said, "Not to your father, not to Megan, not to Aiden." I didn't talk over her. I've learned with powerful people, silence is respect. Grandma said text me every detail. Times, who was present, what was said. So I did. I opened my notes app and wrote it like an incident report. Date Saturday, February 1st. Time 6:41 to 6:45 p.m. Location Dad's dining room. People present. Dad, Gary, Megan. Aiden, Chloe, me. Exact quote, "I'm giving your daughter's birthday money to my son." He actually earned good grades. Then I sent the photo. Then, because my hands were shaking, I sent another thing. USPS informed delivery screenshot from earlier that week. It showed the envelope from Evelyn Hart delivered to Dad's address. Proof it arrived. Proof it was hers. Proof it was meant for Chloe. At 8:10 a.m., Megan started calling me. I didn't answer. At 8:14 a.m., Dad texted, "Don't you dare stir Grandma up." At 8:16 a.m., Megan texted, "You're really doing this over a gift." At 8:18 a.m., Dad again, "You live under my roof." Remember that I screenshotted everything and dropped it into an album titled Chloe Money, because at some point you stop hoping people will do the right thing and you start building a file. That afternoon, Dad showed up at our bedroom door like he owned the air. He didn't knock. He said, "Come downstairs." Chloe sat up in bed, eyes puffy hair stuck to her cheek. She looked like she'd been wrung out. I said, "No." Dad's nostrils flared. "Excuse me," I kept my voice flat. "If you want to talk, you can talk here." Megan was behind him, arms crossed, already irritated. She said Chloe needs to learn disappointment. This is life. Chloe's fingers curled around her blanket. I asked, "Where's the money now?" Dad's face did that fake confusion thing. "What money?" "The 200. Megan jumped in. "It's being used responsibly." I said, "Show me." Dad scoffed. "I don't have to show you anything." Chloe's voice came out small. "It was mine." Dad snapped, "Don't be ungrateful." I took a breath. "Dad, I'm not asking you to justify it. I'm asking you to return it." Megan laughed like I was stupid. "Return it." He already paid for Aiden's laptop. I turned my head slowly. When Megan's smile twitched. "This morning." I looked at Dad. "Show me the receipt." Dad stepped closer, voice low. "You're getting bold." I didn't move. Chloe was watching my face like it was a test she had to pass. I said, "Show me the receipt or admit you stole it." Dad's jaw clenched. Megan said, "Oh my God." Theodora stopped using dramatic words. I said, "He took cash addressed to my daughter and gave it to someone else. That's stealing." Dad's hand lifted like he might point at me, like he might slap the air. He didn't. He just said, "You're not welcome to my help anymore." I nodded once. Okay, that seemed to throw him. He was used to me begging, explaining, performing gratitude. I didn't. I picked up my phone. Megan stopped filming. That's when I stopped trying to convince my family to care and started preparing for what happens when they realize someone bigger than them does. Mr. Caldwell's office in New Albany was all glass and beige carpet. Dad walked in like he expected applause. Megan's heels clicked. Aiden looked tight. Chloe and I sat across the table. Grandma Evelyn entered. 78 small sharp. She looked at Chloe first, softening. "Hello, sweetheart." Chloe half stood. "Hi, Grandma." Then Grandma turned to my father, cold-eyed. "Gary." Caldwell said Miss Hart requested a revision to her estate plan. Dad tried to wave it off. "We don't need all this formality." "Yes, you do," Grandma cut in. Caldwell read. "Gary Hartman was executor. That has been changed. Executor is now Theodora Hartman." Megan jolted. "Wait, what?" "You can't be trusted with paperwork or cash," Gary Grandma said. "Why would I trust you with my death?" Dad snapped. "This is because of some stupid—" "Do not call it stupid," Grandma said. "You stole from my great-granddaughter." Megan rushed in. "It wasn't stealing. It was reallocating." Aiden earned. Grandma turned slowly. "Did I mail you $1.200?" Megan opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Caldwell continued. "A trust has been established for Chloe Hartman. Future gifts go directly into the trust with Theodora as trustee until Chloe turns 25. Dad half stood. "That's ridiculous." "What's ridiculous," Grandma said, "is a grown man taking money from a 16-year-old and calling it fair. I'm her grandmother." Dad argued. "No, you're a man who had excess," Grandma replied. Caldwell read Gary Hartman and Megan Price have been removed as beneficiaries. Dad turned on me. "You did this." "I showed her what you did," I said. Grandma slid her phone across the table. My photo timestamp. Dad's hand at his pocket. Cash corner visible, Megan nodding. One screenshot, that's all it took. Megan's voice cracked. "Mom, it was one gift. It was a test. Grandma said, and you failed it." Dad barked. "You're cutting us out over $1.200. No, Grandma said. "I'm cutting you out because you revealed who you are for $1.200. Caldwell added. "Future gifts go to Chloe's trust. No cash to Gary's address." Grandma faced Chloe again, soft. "I'm sorry, sweetheart. You deserved better." Chloe blinked hard. "Thank you." Grandma looked at me. "Theodora, I want you out of that house." "We're leaving," I said. Dad started. "You can't just—" "Yes, she can," Grandma said. "Then Gary, do not contact Chloe about money again. If you do, Theodora will handle it legally. You're humiliating me." Dad spit. "You humiliated yourself," Grandma said. In the hallway, Megan hissed, "Fix this. Tell her you overreacted." "I'm not fixing what you broke," I said. Dad thundered. You're not welcome back in my house. Good, I said. That afternoon, I signed a lease for a 2-bedroom, paid the deposit, changed Chloe's mailing address, and blocked Megan on Chloe's phone. That night, Dad pounded on my door. I didn't open it. I called the non-emergency line for an officer to document it. The first night was unreal quiet. Chloe ate microwave mac and cheese on the carpet. I said, "This is ours." She said, "Just us, just us." 2 weeks later, Grandma took Chloe to a cafe in Bexley and handed her a printed trust statement. Chloe whispered, "So nobody can touch it." "Nobody can touch it," I said. Dad showed up at school pickup. Chloe froze. I removed him from the emergency contact list and emailed the principal. Chloe is not to be released to Gary Hartman. He left voicemails angry, wounded, then sweet like poison. I didn't call back. Megan left a Sephora bag for Chloe. Love you. Inside, a $25 lip gloss and Aiden's report card screenshot. Chloe asked, "Do I have to say thank you?" "No." She tossed it in the trash. "Then can we go to Target and buy towels that match?" "Yeah, we can." In March, Grandma invited only us to her Florida condo. Chloe talked about art class, and Grandma listened like it mattered. "You did the right thing," Grandma told me. "I should have done it sooner." "You did it when it counted," I said. On the drive home, Chloe said I thought I had to earn to be treated fair. "You don't," I said. "You never did. Even if my grades aren't perfect. Especially then. Love is not a scholarship." We don't see Dad anymore. He texts from random numbers I don't answer. The boundary stays. My daughter's peace is not negotiable, and access to my child is not a family right. It's earned. So when people ask if I feel guilty, I tell the truth. Adults stole from my daughter and called it fairness. I sent one screenshot to the only person who could stop it, then I left. Chloe started sleeping through the night again, enough that I stopped listening for crying. And every time I chose emails and logged calls over shouting it wasn't drama, it was proof. It was safety for all of us. Every time. This story teaches us boundaries are set not with emotions, but with evidence and determination. Love is not a scholarship. A child shouldn't have to earn decent treatment with grades. True protection is documents address changes, clear boundaries, not guilt, but freedom. When family takes what belongs to your child and calls it, help you don't argue. You limit their access to her, because clear boundaries are your freedom, your dignity, your peace.